Hello there, Zero Ravens here with a quick advert here. If you wish to support me further to help me get through contents and eventually get to making more and better stuff, a little bit will go a long ways. You can support me through buymeacoffee.com/ZeroRavenX. And if not, that's okay. You're watching, subscribing, commenting down below, give it a like or whatnot. It means a lot to me, and I do hope you'll have a wonderful day, and thank you for watching this advert. Now, I do hope y'all enjoy this content. Now, on to the video. Hello ladies and gentlemen, Zero Ravens here, and we're finally getting around to the topic of mining. Mining is pretty much essential to the game and to any villagers trying to get to that metal. It's just one of those things that is also very deadly. And let's talk over a bit. But first you see like the cave dust here. When you see cave dust like this, normally it means there is a tile adjacent to where that dust is. So it could be either one of these three. That's kind of hard, but it could be any one of these tiles right here. When you see that cave dust, it can you almost likely get a cave in if you hit it's like playing Minesweeper to a degree. But yeah, let's get over to talk. But yeah, if it is not protected, or if you have the radius selected, have under the toggles the mine support radius, you could easily see. And the mine radius will also help you see any of the Towercaps in the game that as you're wandering around, or you may even see strange little stone columns that you can also use to mine off of. There is a lot into the mining part. It's mostly a non-stop stat grind. It primarily uses strength and constitution, as well as your tool. Because you have these, there's 3 different sets of mining power. There's the stone axe, which is considered to be 1. The tinkerer's axe, which is considered to be mining power of 1.5. And the pickaxe, which is the mining power of 2. So basically, as you're mining, it calculates your strength. One thing I do know that is a bit misleading on the wiki currently is they recently changed the constitution factor. But the old formula was strength times your tool. As far as it goes, let's say this 159 stone axe, that's the raw. So it would be your strength. The old formula was just the strength times your tool quality. For pickaxes, it is doubled. So this 62, it would be considered 124.4 quality in terms of mining. And it's just 159 for the stone axe. Actually, let's do a quick calculation of, see if I can get my math right. So technically with this one stone axe, I have the mining power of 115. All these calculations, they don't really mean a whole lot unless you're really in a pinch. But more or less, the more is better, of course. The mining is endlessly increasing your strength and your constitution, as well as your masonry skill. So you can get as much as you can. It is recommended to keep getting your mason pulled up as you mine when you're first starting, So that way your soft cap will keep going up, and you can make more and more stone axes up until you're able to get till you start able to make your own pickaxes. They are soft capped by your tool's quality, and they are hard capped by your masonry. As you can imagine, petroglyphs are pretty solid for that. However, if you lack the strength, a few things that you can do to help increase your strength. If you do not have access to, copper or much metal at the moment, and you're trying to mine, one of the easiest things that you can do is you can go to the bog. Hopefully you can find some turtles to make your first beast ring, or if you are able to cheese a boar or other animal like that to get the fine bone. The beast ring is a pretty decent choice for your first rings. If you're able to find a bit of lead, the lead talisman is also a fantastic pick, but of course you have to find the lead first. A few things you could do. Skip these. If you can find porphyry, or if it's like a reddish boulder out in the overworld, hopefully you can find some in the mines of a much better quality, because it is one strength with masonry, but it's better than nothing. And we have hemp fiber finery. It's also a small increase to strength, but it is available. Just every little bit helps. Then we got, no, not those. And if you're able to find you some copper, the copper skills are pretty solid as well for strength. Also gives you a bit of smithing. I believe that is it, unless you are able to hunt a bear. And in that case, when you have a bear, you'll have access to the bear cape, which is pretty solid. Good. You're able to get a good bear, as you can see, plus 20 strength for just the cape. And you can also make the bear coat, which is an additional a bit of strength in it, with a bit of some agility. Those paired along with the bear tooth, which at quality 60 will give you 5 strength. So there's bears are definitely a big leap forward in strength and mining potential. For some general masonry, that'll be pretty good for you, would be petroglyphs. Some curiosities. Is it right? But dolls, no. Definitely not luxury. Decoratives? No. Naturilla. There you go, Naturilla. This is petroglyphs. And not only do they give you intelligence with a nice chunk of lore, but these guys are pretty solid, especially if you're crafting curios. So any of your very high quality seashells, you might want to save for the petroglyphs. As you can see, it doesn't really show the quality of them, but you can see they're pretty decent quality. Petroglyphs tied to my gear. But yeah, they are definitely a solid pick to help increase, because with the lore, you're also making better, more curiosities, getting that soft cap up. So under the medicines tab, find the boar tusk snuff. And of course the only gate for this is obviously a boar tusk and a poppy flower. But once you're able to get those, you'll be able to make this tusk snuff. And this stuff can, to a degree, destroy your character, as I'm about to do so. No. Is it shipped? There we go. And get the ZULA. But as you can see, the damage you take is equivalent to how much you gain. So if I went a little bit crazy like I wanted to be Scarface, 51 strength. But as you see, it does deteriorate kind of fast. And now we got this. Nosebleeds will heal over time, but for the most part, yeah, I see the strength, it fades pretty quickly, but that is a massive amount of strength for a little bit of damage for me, and I'm right at 100. TUSKAZOOOOOOLAAAAA. Alright, you will find Rustroot. This little thing right here and on the map. You will need at minimum 500 perception and exploration. However, it is a really rare root found on forest biomes, so you will need a lot more perception and exploration to reliably find these things. Now, once you have the mining skill acquired, you can create this extract through processing of materials. And it should be just here. But you will need a clay jar with a rustroot and some water. Go ahead and make it up. Give you 4 charges. And what it will do is, depending on the quality of the extract, will what it does is it will detect one layer underneath you, the closest mine or mining vein. I see no materials found directly below, but we could walk around and use it, but mostly in the overworld. Yeah. Let's head topside. Alright, let's see. Can we find anything here? You see, it says there appears to be soapstone marked directly below. We can hit mark. Yeah. I don't know if this is a ender feature, but at least here it will let you mark. And it will name it soapstone below. And you can walk around. Anyways. Oh, it's just a badger. Silly badger. Okay, well then. I guess this is just gonna be a little quick, yeah. No, you started this fight. Okay. Now that the badger's out the way, prospect again. Oh, you see rock salt in this direction. You see how this pie chart is? You can go ahead and mark it. And we'll let you know, and we'll just keep going this way. Come on over here. And we'll go ahead, we'll see, we'll prospect again. And Fumus. So it is rather weird, but it will tell you the general area, and if you are searching on the overworld, you will be looking for, mostly you will be looking for casserites or lead glance. Those two will be your first starting metals, and if you prospect within a cave or you make a mine hole, you'll be looking for wine glance, and then below that, chalcophrite. There's a lot of different ores and different things that can help you out, but most people, when they first start, or when they're just first starting trying to get metal, they will be looking for cassiterite, as that will be your first sort of 10 or lead glance for the lead to get to start getting our metals going. Hopefully you can find some tin and then get some wine glance for copper. Now, for one of the most important things, especially for early and cheap mining, for when you don't have a lot of metals, you'll find these things called Towercaps. You can usually find them within the cave, the gleam grotto, or the wild cavern biomes within the caves. And their spores are really good, and as you can see, it's pretty easy to quality grind on them, especially since you have all the space in the cave, and they don't really have much use for other than providing mine supports and providing logs, but they only produce spores. But they can produce up to 12 spores, for which you can put in a tree planter spot and then put it in a herbalist table. And these guys, if you are lucky to find them very quickly, it will make your life extremely easy. As you can see, their range, they have quite a bit of range on their supporting, and it does take a while for them to grow. However, before access to metal, and if you don't have much metal, Towercaps are really a good way to go, as also they can also double as you can fill three herb pots or herbalist tables with the planted spores, so you can have a good mass amount of high quality mushrooms going for the wood and boards that you can use at your own leisure. So there are a few creatures you really want to watch out for while you're mining. Obviously you got to deal with bats, and there is a strange creature called the cave louse. It's basically cave lice. They're like really big creatures that are very tanky and pointless to even try to fight. Let's see if we can find one or two. It's all mushrooms, but they usually travel in a large pack, and they are they can be very dangerous and also very pointless to fight. It's like it looks like big fat white centipedes or something. That's the best I can explain them, as I can't seem to find any. Usually got a few. Another one is the far more dangerous one, the boar worm, and those things are actually pretty solid. As if as you're mining, you might have a chance for one of them to spawn. While we're talking about it, never use the pickaxe to fight with. As you see, the attack cooldown 115%. This regular stone axe is 100. It may not seem like much, but that attack cooldown is very detrimental to your health, is the best way I can put it. So if you're mining in one of those worm spawn or slime, take the cooldown and swap your weapons out. It'd probably be easier just to keep arms up, so you don't have to worry about the whole shield thing. But of course, if you're mining with any of the other axes, it should work out in your favor. Boarworm hide is one of the easiest ways to get a much higher quality leather. One thing with the boarworms though, if you leave one alone, it will eventually burrow and it will spawn even more boarworms. While that may seem like more leather, obviously if you get ganged up on, then you will get obliterated basically. Alright, well, speaking of gear, within the armors and helmets tabs, the miner's helm, and it can be handy for a risky miner, but really and truly you should be mining under mine supports, you know, make it a lot easier for you. There is that one nasty enemy that does have a like 2% chance to spawn or something, or 0.5 on all levels of the caves. Is the nasty troll. It's got a lot. It's like 1,000 health plus another 1,000 for each floor, or how deep down you go. And they can do some nasty cave-in attacks. So yeah, don't do that. But if you're worried about that, or if you don't have a cape or anything, miner's helmet is a pretty decent way to go. You can even put a little candle on it and use it as a light source. So, a few security concerns about the mine holes. The few major things is obviously anybody can come in through the mines, or or if they tunnel through into a cave and they're walking around, they see easy access into your base. If you do not have visitor gates, and I cannot stress this enough, always be using visitor gates. Yes, if you get attacked outside, you can't really get in, but I think when you get to a certain point where it's better to try to run around and go somewhere else, try to leave them, because losing your character at a certain stage of the game is a lot less detrimental than losing your entire base. Just having people in there taking everything you worked for, just gone. So please, please, please build visitor gates everywhere. If you die, oh well, you have your base. You can rebuild. You lose your base, well, I will say it's enough to make a grown man cry watching all their hard work get just stripped away. Unless you are like me and very prepared and have multiple spots, but most people only have 1 or 2 bases to fall back on, if any at all. And another thing, when you're in the overworlds, one of my favorite things to do is if you're able to get your hands on a pickaxe, either through trade or if you're able to get it, is to build a mine hole in the cellars. It will keep you off the map, and it is really handy for any hermit to get their hands on. Of course, if you can't trade for it, if you have to build that mining hole on the top, just make sure you have it at least surrounded like this, even if it's in your own base. Make sure you specifically wall it off. Not only that, but it does take more and more resources the further down you go. Yeah, the further down you go, the more resources it will take. It starts off with like 5 hard leather, 10 regular, a bunch of boards and blocks. But the further down you go, it will take more I think hardened leather, and it will start taking metals. So a neat little thing is the mine elevator. So let me get these real quick. Thank you. If you're planning on building most of your base down below you, just have your farms up top. The mine elevator can be a pretty good way to transport your goods and stuff. The mine elevators are extremely handy and useful. What will need to happen is you can of course build it on the overworld, and underneath the mine elevator it has to be empty. So as you build the mine elevator, preferably on the overworld, as you cannot go build up, but you can extend it down with them. And you see construction site has been placed, so we'll go down to the next floor. And as you can see, unless this bat wants to tango, it will be placed underneath, and it will require more metal and stuff, but this will unlock another elevator, so you can begin pushing more and more materials down below on the next floor. It's really simple. It does take quite a bit of metals, but of course if you have a ton of 10, it really doesn't matter much. But it is really handy for large scale projects, and if you're just generally living between layers of your base. And that's pretty much it. You build it and then you would extend down. One thing to do note, however, is wherever you place it, you have to make sure on the next level of the mines that area is cleared. Because if this was like rocks or something else right here and it wasn't mined out, it will not let you be able to extend it down until you cleared it. So while they will take a bit of metal, as you can see from down there on all the way to I think it was L2 is the same stuff, because they all share the same inventory. And you know, as easy as this is the top side, I can easily put up like a whole cupboard's worth of food down here to transport down there, as along with the inventory, to make trips of moving materials and stuff up and down pretty easily. So a few of these doesn't hurt actually if you're in a group, as it'll be much easier to transport that much amount of goods. So you can build a mine hole anywhere in the overworld. This blow's occupied. However, once you get down within the mine, let's see, you will see when you try to build a mine hole, top side, you will see K-floor needs to be fired and cracked to dig a mine hole. You will need to build these mine pyres, and what you would do is you would set them on fire. And the way it works is if nobody's been got to the floor below you first, then it can take up to a few days to a few weeks even, but the few weeks, that's for like the lower, I think like 7 and below, or 5 and below. It's somewhere around there. It does have a scaling. The deeper down you go, it's just to keep keep things square, so not one group can just be almighty. It gives time for everybody. And once that floor has been reached by another player, all other little mine pyres, they will take a lot less time to burn out the ground. So that's the only limiting factor if you're trying to rush to the bottom. Of course, you'll eventually be needing steel and all kinds of things for the lower level mine holes, so that's another time gate there. But once you do find some casserites cassiterite on flora 1 or lead glance, you can start making these mine supports, which is about the same as the tower cap. However, you can quickly build them as you go. As the tower caps, you will have to wait a few days for them to fully grow to be able to support the mines. Now, once you have found yourself some metal, hopefully, you'll be wanting to know how to get things going. So the first thing that you would be able to build, okay, it will be a stack furnace. The stack furnace can only be worked up to wine glance, I believe. It will smelt your copper and tin. If you do get, as a side note with the stack furnace, if you do get chalcophrite, which can produce either iron or copper, if you put it in a stack furnace, you'll only get copper from it. Do keep in mind that, but with the stack furnace, you'll be able to use it to create craft molds. Let's say you want to make your first weapon upgrade, the Tinker's Throwing Axe. As you see this little mold right here, the Tinker's Axe, the frying pan, the anvil, and the anvil hammer are all, you will have to build them in these casts. Now, what you would do is you would turn your stack furnace on, and you would build these castings right next to it, and then you would be able to click the metal bars or whatever is needed onto the mold, and you will wait. Sometimes some things take a few days, at best. I do believe the anvil takes a lot longer, but I mean, it's a really large item. Need the smithy's hammer here, but as you see, it takes bronze. So once you have been lucky enough to find both tin and copper, you will want to go to your crucible, and what you would do is you would have, let me see, processing materials, smithing, smelt bar of bronze, which is 2 copper and 1 tin bar. Kind of standard there. So you would right click on the crucible to make sure you're using it, and then begin making your bars of bronze. It is 3 to a bit, so it's kind of, it's a pretty nice and even trade, as well as bronze and easiest hard metals to quality grind, as it's a lot easier to find, better and more quality stuff. And eventually you'll be able to make yourself an anvil and a smithy's hammer, which will unlock a lot of new potential, of many things for you, and it will really open up the game for you. Eventually though, when you have enough bronze, you will want to make one of these smelters here. Smelters, while the stack furnace can take wood and coal, the furnace can only take coal, which you can get from either the tar pit or through mining. Really, one thing of note, farming comes in real handy, especially when you're grinding like the Towercaps, because eventually you'll get to the point to where you'll be able to cut like quality 70, 80, even up to like 100 something boards with a competent saw and carpenter. And you can get a lot of high quality coal this way, but The fastest way to get the absolute highest quality coal is obviously through mining and praying that you find an upgrade to your coal. So that's one thing to keep an eye out for. But with these smelters, is the coal quality does matter for everything you do, as far as the smelters, and so on and so forth. When you get your you'll have to mine out iron ochre this world, and it will unlock the Finery forge, which will allow you to refine that cast iron into bloom. So you would smelt it into cast iron from the smelter. Then you would take that cast iron over to the Finery forge, and it will turn it into either a bloom or dross. Dross is garbage, I believe. It's about a 50-50 chance for you to either get bloom or dross. Dross can make a pretty alright pavement, but for the most part that's not what you really want. It's kind of it's kind of a sad appearance, but you can change the outcome through skills like Deep Artifice, as well as the Miner's, I think it's the Miner's Credo. Yeah, you will increase the success in mining and forging the wrought iron, so you can get what you need with better odds. But still, I would not recommend messing with the wrought iron until you have Deep Artifice, just so you're not wasting valuable material. Another thing that you can do is you can put cinnabar into the ore smelters. I believe you can even put them in the stack furnace, but I haven't really messed with that too much. But you can put them in here, and it will eventually hopefully turn into quicksilver, which you will have to take a bucket and right click onto it to get it out of there. And with that quicksilver, you can make some pretty nice things. Obviously, you can put them in a pane mold to make your window panes, which will unlock a lot of different curiosities and buildings too, such as the stone tower, which is a pretty cool and epic building. Yeah, it's got like 7 floors in it. It's a lovely thing to build, especially when you have 4 of them on each corner of your claim. It'll look really cool. As well as quicksilver globes, which is a solid yet can be a deadly curiosity, as it will give you quicksilver poison. We got these cruicibles going right now. Oh, you must have put some more in there. Okay. But yeah, one of the big things about this though, the devs do change it up sometimes, because see, even if you have iron or wrought iron from iron ochre, or ochre, however you pronounce that word, it will unfortunately not unlock the steel crucible, which you will need to make your steel. Now, it's a little rough, but currently you would have to find bloodstone and to have discovered it. But of course, some markets they do have it. They do have it on their board, so you can stop by and look it up, and then you'll get your steel crucible unlocked. It doesn't make any sense, but the devs really want steel to be the in-game item, and I mean, it can make some pretty cool stuff. You will have to keep an eye on these steel boxes for whatever reason. You just have to keep an eye on it, or it will, I think it resets the process. I kind of been not wanting to experiment with that, so we're just gonna leave it at that. Just keep an eye on them. Every few hours, drop some coal in there and you should be a-okay. Should get you your first bit of steel. So really, all in all, the first bit of your build order with your metals, should definitely be towards saving enough to get bronze to make your first pickaxe. And if you have a farmer, or if you're planting trees on the side, which, you know, take the tree, you plant it, you don't have to mess with it for a while, so you'll eventually get you some pretty decent quality bows. These are meh, but as the pickaxes do take a tree bow and some bronze or iron, any hard metal. A few other things that would be really nice to build, if you, aside from the anvil and hammer to begin your metal making, you can also construct things for your cook and everything else, like the metal cauldron. The power of the metal cauldron is, not only is it a lot easier to get higher quality metals than to find clay, because you can easily get like a quality 200 cauldron at this point of the game, is that it will boil immediately. So there's no water loss, trying to get, or time loss either, because it takes like 5 minutes for the clay cauldron. And there's also the meat grinder, which you can start making your own sausages, as well as taking those sausages and make sure you stick them in the smoke shed. Gets you some fantastic foods that way. What other goodies is there aside from the alchemy and the all-important snack? Where are you at, my friend? There you are. Of course, one of your first boats you will need, and it will take a bar of hard metal, so as soon as you get bronze, you can make you a snack. And these things are fantastic and will open up the world for your foragers, hunters, and explorers, as they can hold up, you know, up to 4 people, 16 units of cargo. That's liftables. Like, it can hold 16 logs or 16 carcasses of their prey, and as well as a modest inventory for, you know, small things like tar sticks to repair them with. There's also a metal plow. Well, if you haven't already had your fields plowed, or if you have a big project going, that'll do some more fantastic things besides all the gildings, the armor, and everything. Will be your tools, like the metal shovel. The metal shovel will greatly increase the speed of, you know, digging up clay, sand, and dirt. So it's really good for terraforming projects, because the wooden shovel is really slow, consumes a lot of stamina. The metal shovel, however, makes it a breeze. So it's a massive upgrade. Along with your farmers, they will love the scythe, which, as you can see, I've been doing some of the farm work. But yeah, it'll cut like a 2x3 section, and it really speeds things up, and it makes a large task a lot easier to manage for 1 or 2 people. You know, so you got the metal saws. Not only will the metal saw and the metal axe produce a lot more logs and boards respectively, but you'll get the most value out of your high quality trees. Just make sure you have the decent quality axe to deal with that. And is also the woodsman's axe. This basically lets you be able, if you have a lot of trees to chop, the woodsman's axe is the best, because I think you can chop 2 trees in a single stamina bar, whereas normally it's only 1 tree per of your stamina. But it makes it a lot quicker and easier. And then you have your hunters or cooks butcher's cleaver. I would say your hunters, as their survival is probably a whole lot higher. But the butcher's cleaver will allow you to, of course, you know, get a lot more meat off their prey and more bang for their buck. Aside from my favorite glass blowing rod, good for making certain things like the wine glass or the bottle. Of course, I'm currently in the process of trying to make the best ship in a bottle ever, so I'm definitely going to need a good rod. What else? Of course, they have shears to speed up shearing the mouflon or the sheep. A gridiron, so you can stick it on the brazier. There he goes. You can even have like a little thing that can stick meat on a brazier and it will slowly cook that food for you. So it's kind of cool. It's kind of cool. Obviously the frying pan is a big one for your autumn steaks, steak tubers, everything that requires a frying pan. The frying pan, in my opinion, would probably be the first metal item that you will want to build, as it opens up a lot of fantastic food options to help bolster your speed, you know, your growth, the growth of the either your growth or the entire villages or even a small group. The frying pan is not to be underestimated. Alright, what else we got? And speaking of your hunters, it will also unlock the mighty boar spear, but as I can imagine, next world there will be the rat dungeon available early game, I think, and it can get you a quality 10 boar spear. But the boar spear is ideal if you wish to do the boat cheeses, which I will get situated and get things done for you as soon as I can. I just been dealing anyways. Of course, the boar spear, then you have a massive upgrade to your tinkerer's axe, the bronze sword. Very solid. Ceramic knife. You want to spend steel iron on a freedman's sword, that'll work too. And another fun one is the cutthroat knuckles. The one good thing about the knuckles is if you are unarmed, this will let you be able to take on boars and anything with armor. I believe, I don't know if they took away, I don't see it on the tooltip, but before it did have like an armor penetration to it, so people were able to beat up bears basically, and it was very funny. I might make a character like that someday, but I don't see I don't see it. But yeah, Knuckles is pretty good for unarmed specialist. Arrows, what else we got? Now, of course, you'll get your first big upgrade for your belt. The hunter's belt only requires a nugget, which you can make at the crucible with bar of metal, and it is advised at the crucible to make a nugget of each, just so you can learn it, because different recipes unlock for each of the different types of nuggets. But yeah, aside from the poor man's belt to the hunter's belt, then eventually when you get silk, you can make an exquisite belt, which is massive. Look at all these tools you can carry. It was a fantastic upgrade. Oh yeah, but of course you'll be able to make the awesome hussar wings, or hussar's wings. Swans are pretty easy to fight on a snack, and you will be able, these things are just solid. I think everybody who does anything, they make sure they use these wings. They're relatively easy to make as soon as you get bronze. Yeah, all you have to do is take out a bunch of swans, and there you go. It is the best agility item in the game, and it currently, now in this world, it is guildable. So you can slap on, you know, your melee or agility. So, nonetheless, hussar wings are an absolute must for your fighters and hunters and explorers if they should desire them. Even though personally, when I'm exploring, I like the grass cape because it gives a bonus to that. Another good gear is the armored striders. Not only does it give you a solid set of armor and a bit of durability, at least compared to like the leather boots, which is very bad. They break so quick. But it gives you additional agility chainmail shirts are, I mean, it does take wrought iron. Honestly, for the agility penalty, I'd rather just use the bronze plate, because as you've seen in my other video, there is a lot of easy ways. One of my favorites, the glue spun thread, and you can also wear a Lucky Rabbit's Fall necklace to offset the agility loss. But coupled with that, speaking of gear, you can also wear either a badger hide vest in your short shirt slot, or this fancy, I can't pronounce it, but I'm just gonna call it a gambinson. You can burn me all you want. That's just what I'm gonna call it. The gambinson is pretty nice. Gives more armor and durability than the badger's hide, with no penalty to your agility. So what else we got? And of course, as we briefly talked about, the miner's helm. It is kind of a decent choice, but in all honesty, you really won't be using the miner's helm much, because if a troll shows up, you're pretty much going to die anyways. That, or if you try to fight trolls at a range, they're just going to spam the cave-in on you, and this is not going to do you any good. But this is, miner's helmet is good for those that are just want to be prepared in case like a pillar breaks, then you have a buddy next to you mining anyways, and a cave-in happens and you'll be alive. But it's up to the user, however you wish. Then we get Raider's Cap. It's alright, really. It is very expensive though, just like with some other items here with the hardened leather. But of course, if you have a lot of boar worms, you can just turn those into hardened leather and you'll be a-okay. But yeah, just that strength bonus will help you out a lot. Personally, I use the bronze helm. It's a lot cheaper. It does have a penalty, but it can be offset. But it does have a higher armor class, so that's pretty good. Same with the herdsman's helmet, and the winged helmet is pretty solid too. Kind of ideal to use, although it will take your wrought iron, but it gives you a bit of agility. As you go through, of course, you got your gildings like the copper scales, the fancy buckle, lapel pin. These rivets are pretty solid for getting your carpentry up, boosting it, as well as having a boost to your melee. You got the metal buttons, and one of my favorites, the plumb bob. It's really good for plumb bobs. Are pretty solid choice for putting onto a smithing set, as well as if you have no strength issues while you're mining. This can help you reach those soft caps pretty easily, because as it goes up, you can get some pretty high plus to your masonry. So you can mix match, it's all up to you. And there is a ton of different things aside from all of that. You can also start building aside from barter poles. Ooh, the sawmill. Sawmills are pretty good too. Basically, you can pick up a log, throw it on there, and it will automatically cut the log for you into boards. The quality of the metal, as far as from what I've seen on the wiki, the quality of the metal is really what impacts the quality of the boards. Milling machines, you can make the water mill, which part of it has to be on the water, as well as the, I believe I have it, windmill. I don't have the windmill. But you can also build massive structures like the stone mansion, which we'll pop into one real quick. As you can see, we got quite a few. They are really solid. you know, just space-wise, as well as the Great Hall, which is the king of storage. Here, you have a nice layout. It even comes with an upstairs. I love mountain wood so much. It looks pretty good. And it's got a pretty decent cellar. What's in the cellar? It's just a rat. Ah, it's just a rat. I was hoping to get the rat dungeon, but that's okay. Yeah, in the Great Hall, the massive 3 doors, you get all of this space. And they don't have it yet, but the cellar is even more. It's massive, like 3 stories. Yeah. So, starting, when you start getting your metals, you will really come a long way. And it will really open up the game for you. So, normally I do just trade for my metals. But I figured, you know, need to try to learn what I can and do what I can for y'all. Mining is a bit of a weak spot. For now, that will be it for this mining yap session. I do apologize if it's a bit much, but mining is a large subject and very important. Unfortunately, it is a weak point of mine, as I usually just trade for my metal and items. I went through and tried to get as much info as I can from other players to help get this guide together, to hopefully help y'all out. If this has helped you out in any way, do consider leaving a like, comment down below what you want either see next, anything I missed, or any other info you would like to know. Consider subscribing if you wish to see more, and all in all, thank y'all for watching, and I hope y'all have a fantastic day, and hopefully a happy new year, rest of the new year, we'll say.